I just wrapped up the most successful cut of my life. I was lean, defined, with visible abs, which is exactly what I wanted, and I even hit 14% body fat, which is something I did not expect. But when I looked in the mirror, I realized that I was smaller, but I didn't have as much shape. My glutes are round, but they were not as full, and my legs were defined, but they were not as big in size as I expected. And I realized that I wanted to go ahead and switch from my fat loss phase into a building phase. And these are complete opposites of each other. And so this transition is somewhat hard to go through, but I'm going to share with you in the next 15 minutes exactly what I'm going to do to make this shift so that you can stop your diet phase and go into that muscle building phase as well. So in this video, my personal transition with my deficit to building is what I'm going to share with you. The mindset swaps that I made to help you build more muscle, the training framework that actually grows your glutes, and the nutrition upgrades that will fuel muscle without bulking you up. And finally, how to track progress when the scale is going up. If you've ever wondered why you've lost weight and lost fat but don't look the way that you want to, most likely it's because you don't have enough muscle. So this video is going to break down everything that you need to know in order to make that transition and to make sure that you don't lose your progress as you do this. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to this video. Follow me on Instagram at JenWallFitness and look in the description below for the link to one-on-one coaching. The transition from fat loss to building muscle. During my cut, I was laser focused with my discipline. I tracked every calorie, I pushed my workouts and steps, and I celebrated the scale when I went down because that's exactly what the goal was. And it worked. I got leaner than ever. But when I hit my goal, I realized the body that I wanted to have would have more muscle and shape than just being smaller, leaner, more petite. And that's when I made the pivot. I stopped chasing a smaller number on the scale and instead started chasing growth. But here's the mistakes that I made at first. When I came out of a cut, I went on vacation in Europe, which was the best decision actually. I was walking, exploring, and eating all the food. So I felt amazing to be able to enjoy all the food guilt-free and love my body while I was doing it. But life quickly got unpredictable and unplanned when I got back from Europe, and I didn't have the structure and consistency that I had prior when I was in my calorie deficit. Therefore, my nutrition consistency took a back seat. I was more relaxed with my nutrition during this unstructured time period post-vacation, and this felt unsettling mentally. The real progress came when I realized that building muscle still requires discipline with consistency, especially in nutrition, because consistency provides better data and better protocol updates for progression with my phase that I'm in building muscle. Now let's talk training, because this is where most women get stuck. During my cut, workouts were about strength training. I was strength training 4 times per week using a variety of free weights and cable machines and machines. But when it comes to building muscle, often women believe that they're supposed to change what they're doing with their training and what their exercise selection is and what their focus is during training. This is not necessarily true. What I've changed most with my training is the following. Because I'm focused more on building muscle, especially in the legs and the glutes, I'm actually training glutes not just 1 time per week like before, but 2 times per week, splitting this volume across different sessions. Research shows that higher frequency equals better growth if total sets are managed. For exercise selection, I'm still focusing on training glutes through all 4 movements. 1 being the hip extension, which is going to come through with exercises such as hip thrust and glute bridges. 2, abduction, which is mostly going to come from the cable abduction or glute abduction machine. 3, the hinges being RDLs, dumbbell or barbell. And 4, squat variations, whether that's a Bulgarian split squat or step-ups, walking lunges, or even just squats. Most women only focus on 1 or 2 categories when they're working out, but you can focus on all 4 categories, hitting each part during your training session, or making sure that you're hitting all 4 categories throughout the week. The reason for this is that the glute muscle is made up of 3 glute muscles, being the glute medius, the glute minimus, and the glute maximus. And so if you want that full round look, you want to make sure that you're targeting each part of the muscle, not only in the shortened, most contracted position, but also in the lengthened position. And so this is going to require a variety of exercises in order to complete. When it comes to reps, sets, and weights, I actually did not change much here because whether you're in a calorie deficit or in a surplus trying to build muscle, your rep range is not going to change much from the 8 to 15 reps per set. And you want to be at about 1 to 2 reps shy of failure if you're not hitting failure. The biggest difference that you may notice when you're in your calorie deficit versus when you're in your calorie surplus is the amount of energy that you have, even if you are performing the same workouts. So again, workouts are not going to change much. You may find that you are doing more volume during your hypertrophy phase or your muscle building phase simply because you have more energy available to you, but the reps and the exercise selection really are not going to change much. And another piece of this is going to be progressive overload. So this is going to be most helpful whether, again, you're in a calorie deficit or you're in that building phase. Every week, you're either going to focus on improving your weight, adding reps, or improving your form. And I track all of this because if you're not progressing on paper, you definitely are not progressing your muscles physically either. And yes, I still do cardio even as I'm trying to build muscle, mostly for metabolic and cardiovascular health. Previously in my calorie deficit, I did cardio because I actually just wanted to get better at cardio, but it was also a really great way for me to make sure that I was consistent with cardio, consistent with an activity level, and to have an extra calorie burn so that I could also eat more in my deficit. But that being said, now that I'm in my surplus trying to build muscle, I still want to be very mindful of the cardio that I'm doing, how much cardio that I'm doing, so it's not interfering with the process of building muscle. Right now with cardio, I am focusing on 2 sessions per week that are going to be in zone 2 and 1 harder session throughout the week whereby I'm picking up my pace so I can build up my speed in my 5K. And this is going to allow me to support my lifting and again my metabolic and cardiovascular health as I am eating in a surplus. Now the part that you're probably wondering about most is how are we going to put on muscle without putting on too much fat if you are eating more? And this is going to be the scariest part for me as well as it is for you. After months of eating 1,850 calories, getting down to 14% body fat, I'm now eating 2,300 to 2,500 calories. Not quite sure what my body fat percent is yet because I have yet to test it. That is something that I'm going to do once I build a little bit more consistency with my nutrition, a longer time period in this hypertrophy phase, and then I'll go to get tested to see where my muscle mass is along with my body fat percent with my weight. But in terms of building muscle, you have to understand that building muscle is expensive and it does require more calories in order to do. So if you're not building muscle, most likely you're not eating enough in order to support that of the right type of macros, nor just eating enough in terms of calories. If you're not eating enough, but you're pushing yourself hard in the gym, this could actually lead to negative effects, whereby you're not actually making the compensations or the adaptations that your body is supposed to or wants to do from your strength training sessions. Along with increasing my calories, I've also increased the amount of fruit that I'm eating in my diet. This does really well for me around my training sessions and around my cardio sessions. Right now, my current macros look like this. There are 140 grams of protein, which is going to be close to my body weight, which is about 128 pounds. My carbs are at 300 grams per day, and my fats are about 70 grams per day. Usually my fats would be a little bit lower, but I am vegan and I do have a selection of protein that I like to eat as a faux meat, but I cannot find that selection of protein right now with the grocery stores that I have near me. But if I had that, my fats would most likely be lower and my carbs would be a little bit higher. So the result so far is I have gained about 8 pounds in the past 3 months since my deficit, but my glutes have also grown 1.5 inches and my waist has still tightened or stayed tight as I'm putting on more weight. And I definitely have more muscle tissue in my waist than the last time that I was at this body weight with my previous body composition. Along with this, I am still maintaining definition throughout my body in various places. You can still see definition in my legs, definition in my glutes, you can still see definition in my arms, my back, etc. So body composition isn't changing too much. If I find that I am feeling a little bit less defined, it's usually because I have not taken enough rest days between my workouts and my cardio, and this is something that I still want to focus on, not just when I'm in my calorie deficit, but also in my training days of building muscle. So how are you going to check your progress when the scale is going up? Because we all know that the scale can be quite scary, especially if we've taken a lot of time to lose weight and to lose fat to see the scale go up can be mind-boggling. So here's where most women get stuck. You eat more, the scale goes up, and you panic. But the scale is not your friend during a building phase, nor do we call it our friend in our cut phase. We all know this as women. But muscle is going to be more dense than fat, so your body can look leaner and tighter while your weight stays the same or even goes up. And instead of focusing solely on the scale, what you want to do is focus on the following. Number one, you want to track your body composition through pictures and measurements. You want to do this on a weekly basis just to see where you're at, and you also still want to step on the scale on a daily basis. Again, when it comes to the scale is just data. It's just telling you what is happening. It's giving you feedback. It's telling you how the training and how the nutrition is affecting the mass or the weight of you with gravity. That being said, progress pictures are really helpful to kind of show you what is happening in terms of body composition, and measurements are going to be helpful to give you that concrete data of where is the weight or the mass that you're putting on, where exactly is that going for you. Hopefully, if you're trying to build your glutes and your legs such as I am, you're going to find that it's going to go up around the glutes and the legs. Personally, for myself, I'm also wanting to build more in the lats so I can have an hourglass shape. So I'm wanting to go up around my chest or my lats, and my arms to pretty much stay the same as well. Another way that you're going to track your progress is through your clothing. So if your jeans are getting tighter in the glutes but not in the waist, that's also a really good sign that you are seeing progress in the way that you want it to. And then when it comes to lifting, you definitely want to progress in strength with heavier weights, more reps, and better form. And this is how you're going to actually judge your progress on your journey when it comes to building muscle. Here's the bottom line. The deficit that got you lean won't build the glutes that you want. And to create the shape and definition that you want, you need a new plan. So you want to shift your mindset from restriction when it comes to nutrition to properly fueling your body, because again, muscle tissue is expensive, and so we want to give it what it needs in order to grow. Number two, you want to train with progression and with structure. This is not going to look much different than it does when it comes to your calorie deficit, but there are differences, and it's going to be important to make those changes. You want to make sure that you are lifting to failure or 1 to 2 reps shy. You want to make sure that your exercise selection for the muscle growth that you want to see is correct. You want to make sure that you're using both shortened and lengthened positions for those exercises. You want to make sure that you are hitting the right amount of volume of how many sets that you're hitting throughout the week. And you want to make sure that you're focusing on mechanical tension in the right way, which really means just how much tension your muscle has throughout that movement, making sure that you're going through the full range of motion. Finally, you want to stay disciplined when it comes to your nutrition and your training, just like you were with your deficit, and you want to make sure that you're tracking with something beyond the scale. If you just completed your fat loss or weight loss phase and you have found that you still want more shape, this is a perfect time for you to go through a body recomp or muscle building phase, and it can be done without losing your fat loss or weight loss progress. You can still have shape, be lean and defined with muscle without giving up the progress that you worked so hard for. If that sounds like a plan that you're looking for and you want a personalized plan with expert guidance, check out the description below for the link to my one-on-one coaching application. And like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Instagram for all of your fitness and nutrition needs with tips that I post daily. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.